Hey everyone, I am so excited to welcome you to episode number 6 of Gab with Garima. And this week I have a special treat for all of you. I have two guests. I've got Martin Drake, who's the president of USAePay, and I've got my partner and founder and CEO of Genie, Tom Moranica, joining us as well. We have signed this amazing partnership with USAePay, and we are so excited to tell you about it. So I'd like to welcome both of them onto the screen so that we can start this conversation. Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
It's great to be with you.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
So thanks guys so much for joining. I'd like to talk a little bit about this partnership that we're just kicking off between Genie and USAePay. And Martin, let's start with you. What was the reason for USAePay to look for a partner like Genie?
Well, from my perspective, we want to provide solutions for our reseller partners where it helps them keep their clients in-house and the solution more sticky. So it's all about providing packaged solutions that helps us maintain that goal for sure. And the fact that you guys are so tightly tied into QuickBooks, Xero, and Accounting Suite, that allows any of our resellers' current clients to be able to have access to Genie's suite of amazing services.
Awesome. What about you, Tom? What was the reason or catalyst for getting into partnership with Genie? I'm sorry, with USAePay.
Yeah, USAePay is one of the leading payment gateway providers in the country. So it's a natural fit for us. And I think that there was really a twofold benefit. I always say, we try to make sense deals. And this is one of those that just made sense. It's an easy way for us to leverage USAePay's infrastructure to get access to basically any major credit card processor in the country. And also for USAePay, it's a way for us to provide access to their hundreds of thousands of small businesses in the United States that are looking for ways to synchronize the systems that they're already using with the accounting software that we provide. So this is one of those make sense deals, totally synergistic partnership between the two of us that allows us to, both create a solution that's not only benefits the end user, but the reseller partners that we work with.
That's great. One of the things, you guys are both running these major software technology companies, and the three of us have all known each other for so many years in payments and fintech and all of that. And we've seen so many changes. What can you talk about in terms of like the age of automation and how all of this is changing in terms of business practices and what it was like maybe when you started at USAePay and what it is today and how you see that continuing to evolve? And same question for you, Tom. Would love to hear some of that.
Oh my goodness. I've been in this industry for 20 years. And, when I first started at USAePay, I referred to it as very basic e-commerce, right? And, hardly any integrated software solutions whatsoever. It was just, a basic payment form and, tie it to your website and you're off and running. And now, it's all about integrated software. It's, about convenience. It's about contactless, EMV, digital wallets. I mean, the list goes on and on. So just an amazing time to be in payments. That's what I'd like to say. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm in payments about 15 years, and I kind of laugh because 15 years ago, there were no iPhones, let alone the ability to now process a credit card on an iPhone in 5 minutes. So, the age of automation in the accounting profession is upon us. There's been talk in the accounting profession for years, and I think COVID's actually been a catalyst for that growth. And I think that COVID's just shown people that the work from home environment and the need for automation is really upon us. Wall Street publishes that, accounts receivable automation and invoicing is set to grow at a 26% CAGR over the next 5 years. And that's globally, worldwide. I mean, if you think about it, 90% of businesses still send and receive invoices manually. I mean, think about the last time you went to a doctor and you got the invoice in the mail 6 months later. I mean, you probably forgot that you even went to the doctor to begin with. So, how could you possibly get paid on time if you're not sending the invoice on time? That's just one example of, how the proliferation of, these types of solutions are going to make it easier for the end user to conduct business, do so in a faster way, and just make it an overall better experience for the entire ecosystem.
Well, you brought up a good point, about just automation and how it's becoming easier. And you talked about like the doctor's office and all that. And you talked about people adopting all these technologies. Who do you think is driving this change? Do you think it's coming from the business level, the government level, or do you think it's coming from the consumer itself? Like, as you both are developing and thinking about your product roadmap and thinking about what comes next, what are you really thinking about there? And who do you think drives that change towards automation?
From my perspective, it's definitely consumer. It's, the latest and greatest, and we want it now. Generation, I guess. And, of course, the business, follows suit, but it's definitely the consumer.
Yeah, Martin, I'll have to agree with you there. I think a lot of the adoption is driven at the consumer level. When I think about Biller Genie and I look at it, our history and how things have evolved, we initially sought out to achieve a solution that really made it easy for the business owner, that integrated these solutions for the business owner. And as we started to roll our services out, we realized that by making it easy for the consumer to conduct business, it inherently improves the entire ecosystem. So think about, ourselves as a consumer, right? I laugh sometimes. My example is the last time that I've been to Target to buy a roll of toilet paper was 100 years ago. And I'll never go back because I have an iPhone and I put up my Amazon Prime and I click a button and 5 minutes later it's at my house. That's sort of the same type of experience that consumers are looking for. So if we can bridge that gap between the buyer and supplier, the payor, the payee, the merchant, and their consumer, and we make it easy for them to interact together, it's just going to improve the whole ecosystem, make things faster. And at the end of the day, if we can drive cash flow for these businesses, it just improves the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's all about self-service and contactless, especially, during COVID.
Well, you guys have both brought up COVID a couple of times now, and I would love to hear how your businesses did during the pandemic. And has it been good, bad? How have you evolved? How have you changed? And what are some of the things that you could give people tips, like our viewers? What can you give them some tips about in terms of getting through this pandemic and making sure your business continues to grow?
Well, like with any crisis, it's been a challenge. This whole thing has changed the way we go out to eat, the way we shop, the way we interact with our friends and our family. It's a lot different than it has been in the past, and I don't think we're going to probably go back to the old ways anytime soon with the way the world's dealing with this. But from my perspective, we feel like where a door closes, maybe three others open. And as an industry, it forces us to innovate and become better, and I think that's what's, driven a lot of this too. I mean, I think poised as an industry to come out with some really great things, especially on the fintech side of things, where, payments will be more seamless, more easy, and every consumer will be able to drive what they need.
Yeah, for us, I think that I get more FaceTime now with my employees than I did when they were sitting 5 feet away from me in my office. It's funny how that works, and that drive towards Zoom and all these technologies that make it easy to conduct commerce. I think COVID really is going to help show businesses that that need for all that infrastructure probably changes in the future. There'll always be an infrastructure requirement, but it's definitely going to change in the future. It forced us to really focus on some really core business principles that, I think it's funny, it escapes us, right? Sometimes we think about, simple project planning that, when you're in an office environment is a little bit easier to do and forces you to be a little bit more diligent in a remote environment. We've really taken a big approach towards trying to simplify our processes, delegating everything out to the team and elevating them to really, promote responsibilities themselves and predicting the future, being able to systemize our approach to everything. It's forced process and for the better. So, in a silver lining kind of way, I think that we've gotten a lot more regimented about the way that we approach new partnerships and the way that we approach, the outlook in the industry.
Do you think you'll have your employees work remote after we're through this, or do you think you'll go back to the old model where everybody's in the office?
It's tough to say. I think that we've been set up to be remote. So our technology stack, we're a tech company, we're a newer tech company. So we kind of started out with, a pretty robust technology stack. And so, from a physical standpoint, we were remote one day to the next, didn't really have too much of an impact. I think everybody starts to enjoy the work from home environment. So what we're doing now is, we're based in Miami. So, Miami's still a little bit of a hot spot as compared to the rest of the country. So, our office is still closed. We do have kind of like a voluntary basis for those that want to come in and get a change of scenery. But I don't see, again, that infrastructure requirement in the future. In fact, it's opened up our eyes to being able to recruit outside of our local environment. And it's, given us the ability to, where previously we were only looking for, talent and in our local environment, it's opened up our eyes to be able to search outside of our local community. It's been a great resource for us to find some great talent throughout the country.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In fact, looking at, our project roadmap and stuff, I would say during COVID, we've probably been more productive, as a company than when we're all in the office. And it's very surprising to me that, that happened, but, it just proves that people can work from home, I guess, right?
I think so, yeah.
I've been doing it for 20 years, so, it's a good thing.
Silver lining.
One thing I wanted to say to all the viewers, make sure, look, you guys have two tech geniuses on the line here. So if you guys have questions, please make sure that you ask them so that we can get your questions answered. Some of the things I wanted to ask you guys is, when you look at, Martin, you actually started talking about when USAePay started, 20 years ago, or whatever you said, and you said that it was e-commerce, and it was so simple, and it was just a very easy way to do e-commerce. But USAePay is much bigger than just a place for e-commerce today. It's a much bigger. It facilitates so much in terms of payments and transactions. You guys have even built different products on your own side, and you're working with. I know when you and I first talked, you were talking about how you were working to look at your. You're making your own invoicing system, right, that we're going to be connecting to as well. I mean, those are important to you. How have you seen that transition more from being that consumer-based e-commerce setup into B2B? And how is that transition continuing? Because we are continuing to see an uptick in B2B payments overall.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a very crucial part of our business model nowadays. It's evolved from, some guy in his garage making wooden whistles, selling them online to, sophisticated business transactions that require sophisticated tools. And, as things have evolved, we've been forced to evolve. And the great thing about USAePay is I feel like we're very agile in that aspect. We've been able to adapt to most situations and have betted on the right horses, in the race. And as far as B2B, it's absolutely a huge driving force in the, industry today, and it will continue to do so.
Well, first of all, we have a comment from Lava. We agree with you, Lava. We love your comment that it would be nice to have people work from home, and I hope that you're able to do that as well. Tom, you've been in payments for a long time. You actually were an ISO owner, which is where your relationship with USAePay even started, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
How did you come up with the idea of Villaging? I know a lot of that was driven because of this desire to service this kind of B2B clientele, this accounting automation. How did that idea come about?
Yeah, so we weren't the typical payments ISO focused on, retail and restaurant, brick and mortar businesses. We were working a lot with the service industry. And for years, we had customers asking us for a way to bridge the gap between accounting software and the payments ecosystem. And for years, we were selling everything that was out there. We were trying to, productize and resell third-party solutions. And we found that there were a lot of, what they call plugins on the market that, service different segments. So something worked for QuickBooks Online, but not for QuickBooks Desktop, or it worked well for, a merchant that's doing electronic invoicing, but then that same application didn't work for somebody that wanted to do recurring billing or subscription processing. And our business was largely focused on software integrations. And after a while of realizing that we were helping other software companies build these types of solutions and build this type of workflow automation, I looked at myself in the mirror one day and I said, what am I doing here? I could build an application that can connect into any software application. And that was really the catalyst for this. That's where this all came about. It was really, kind of like Plato said, it was necessity drives invention. This wasn't, I rolled out of bed one day and I'm a computer geek and I had a great idea. This was driven out of, a true need in the marketplace, people asking for solutions just like this.
That's awesome. Well, we got a couple comments. I want to ask you guys some questions. So thank you, Sebastian, for your comment. But Elijah has a question for us. He said, do you think moving online is a healthy move? Like, as tech innovates, we should innovate, but do you think that you're losing any kind of personal touch or effect that'll have long-lasting impacts? And would love to hear from both of you on this.
I think with the breakthrough in technology, especially with, meeting technology, and streaming commerce, I guess that's the new buzzword now. I don't feel like we've missed a beat, to be honest with you. I feel like it's forced us to adapt, obviously, but I feel the future is bright, and I feel like our industry is one of the best out there as far as innovation goes, and we will innovate and adapt to our new world.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm getting more FaceTime with my employees now than I did before. And I mean that quite literally. I mean, last night I was on a Zoom meeting with Gary V in Singapore at 10 o'clock at night. I mean, I think that moving towards an online environment doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. I think it actually can help create an additional personal touch. And like I said, even being able to, work with a labor market that's outside your local community expands our reach, expands our ability to create jobs, expands our ability, to promote, the economy in areas outside of our local community. So I only see it as a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a global community now. It's for sure.
Which is, I mean, and you guys are so right that there's so many different ways to stay in touch and keep in touch. And last week in our episode, we talked about, or I think it was 2 weeks ago, we talked about staying close while being afar and how to build that culture and how to really have that personal touch. What are some tips and tricks that you guys would like to share that you're utilizing with your employees and your workforce to ensure that you are maintaining that personal touch even though you're remote?
This is going to sound really silly, but what I've advised the folks that work with us is to do your best to maintain a routine, and normalcy. And that makes a difference, especially working remote.
I think the sillier, the better. We've done a lot of, team building and in a remote environment. And that sounds, like it'd be difficult, but it's been super entertaining. I mean, if you look on our website, Garima is the driving force behind this, but we did a Biller Genie in a bottle video, and our team was all about it. We had different team members throughout the country dancing and recording themselves on video. So just because we're in a remote environment doesn't mean that you lose that personal touch. It's very easy and almost more convenient at times to really drive some of those activities.
Yeah, I would agree.
We've got another great question from Sebastian. Martin, throughout the pandemic, have you guys seen an increase in merchant attrition in your portfolio? Or are you guys seeing higher than normal processing volumes and an increase in new accounts being opened due to a shift towards e-commerce?
We have seen a shift more towards e-commerce. Obviously, as brick and mortar locations have been closed, people have focused more on e-commerce. So I wouldn't say there has been, attrition in our portfolio, but it's been more of a shift towards e-commerce and s-commerce.
Tom, you come from the payment space. What do you have to say about this? I'm sure you have some thoughts on this question as well.
Yeah, obviously those first few months, everybody took a hit. The whole world was closed, and we saw, a downturn. But I saw it almost an immediate rebound. Business goes on. businesses find a different way to adapt. I think that's what's, so great about our world these days, is that, you have the ability to adapt and pivot. We had customers that were coming to us that, were forced to focus on business continuity and maintaining the business. And while, layoffs are happening, we still have to maintain a business and run a business. So I think that we as a community, we as an economy, we as a world have a great strength to pivot. And with all of the tools and technology and the digital age of transformation, it makes it very easy for us to pivot as a community. And I've seen everything rebound on our side at this point.
I have another question, and obviously you guys can tell that Tom is in our Miami office. You can hear the fire engines behind him. But
apologize for that.
It's all good. But so, I have another question just in terms of like attrition and kind of account growth. How, everything you guys have talked about in the past 25 minutes has really been about innovation and adaptation and new partnerships and moving things forward and forging ahead. I know we talked a little bit about the partnership between USAePay and Genie at the beginning, but how do people, if I'm an ISO, if I'm a reseller of USAePay, if I'm a merchant who's watching this, how do I take advantage of this partnership and how do I make it work for me?
Well, from my perspective, it's very easy. I mean, the Genie solution is fully integrated into the payment gateway. So all you would need to do is, contact your reseller and they can get the ball rolling for you.
I think that's one of the greatest things about the way that we built this partnership, is that it is completely seamless and frictionless. There's no need to change your provider, change your gateway. You could use the existing systems that you have. Contact your resellers, contact USAePay, reach out to us directly and let us know that you're with USAePay, and we'll be happy to help you get things set up. What I like to say is within 15 minutes, we could put all of your receivables on autopilot. So our goal is to help you get paid faster and eliminate all of the administrative busy work, save your guys 10 to 20 hours per week worth of work, and get 40% of those overdue invoices paid within 60 to 90 days on the platform. It's pretty simple and straightforward.
And for all the resellers out there, I know that when I started in payments, we would make an average of 132 to 150 basis points on an account, and that was normal. And now that's dwindled to around 38 basis points. We've seen attrition number goes up. We've seen attrition going up. We've seen this proliferation of M&A activity that's also changed kind of the landscape. Residuals are going down, and that's been very difficult. So from a reseller perspective, what would be the advice that you guys would give a reseller that's working with USAePay and or Genie or both together? Who should they be targeting? How should they be targeting them? And how do they really make sure that they can maintain those portfolios at a healthy level?
Go ahead. I'll hop in here for you this one, Martin. So, the days of doing statement analyses and saving 5 basis points, in my opinion, are over. If somebody's going to switch to you for 5 basis points, they're going to switch away from you for 5 basis points. The whole idea behind this partnership is adding value. We provide a really simple way to conduct commerce and to conduct transactions, but we add a tremendous amount of value into the payments ecosystem. And whether you're working with Genie or USAePay, or whether you're providing other value-added tools in your toolbox, when you're having these conversations, and this is for all the ISOs out there, when you're having these conversations, you're out on the street, try to look for ways to add value and understand the pain points of that business. And there are a ton of tools, whether it's Genie or otherwise. There's a ton of tools that are out there in the market that help the business do things outside the transaction. Transaction processing is easy, it's not a secret, but adding value into that transaction creates stickiness, it increases margin, and it keeps that customer happy. So that way, you're able to build a bigger portfolio with better enterprise value.
And I'd also like to add, focus on what you're good at, right? You can't be everything to everybody, right? So, focus your business, on verticals that, you feel confident that you can succeed in, would be my advice.
I'll second that.
So we've just got a couple minutes left where we're going to close. If anybody has questions, please make sure you ask them or get them in. But would you guys like to finish with any last thoughts or final words here?
Well, again, I'm just thrilled about this partnership. You know, we're looking forward to you know, seeing great things, you know, as a result. I think it's going to be you know, one of those partnerships that's you know, a game changer for USAePay, where it can you know, make things a lot more built in and sticky, you know, especially on the accounting side. It's going to be a great solution for us. I'm very excited about that.
Martin, as are we. You know, we're appreciative of the opportunity. You know, I think when we, you know, we're looking at who to partner with, you know, our first, Garima and I looked at each other and our first thought, you know, right away was USAePay and Martin. We've been working together for a long time, and you've got a great solution. You've got a great team. We love working with you guys. We kind of agree this is going to be a game changer. You know, we are looking forward to really putting this out into market. And, you know, ultimately we're here for anybody that has questions or anybody that needs help. You know, if we can help you guys get paid faster and save some time in the office, that's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
And Greg, I see your comment. Thanks for watching. You know, we are really excited about this partnership. I know that these two companies together are going to do great things. And I really thank both of you for getting on this episode with me so I didn't have to talk to myself for 30 minutes because that gets a little challenging. But I do appreciate you guys being here, and we look for great things. We're going to pop up one more time where you need to go to get information. Scott's going to put that on the screen. So we have that. There it is, USAePay.billergenie.com. Go to that site and you'll get all the information you need. You'll be able to contact both parties. And if you need anything, we're all here for you. So thank you guys so much for joining. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great to see you.
Thanks, Martin.
Thank you.